Thank you, President Dave, fellow Rotarians and guests. In the midst of March, many of you may be looking forward to the Final Four. The women will be playing in Nashville, and the men will be playing in Arlington, Texas. Now, as your favorite teams prepare to compete, I'd like you to think about these communities that competed to win these events. Texas has a really unique strategy. Their legislature has created a special events fund used to draw events to their state. These monies, billions of dollars, are available for communities that want to host events. And it's working in Texas. If you turn into the Final Four or tune into the Final Four in 2016, it will be in Houston. The budget for the men's Final Four in Houston, $10 million. As the Olympics hand out medals and the NCAA hands out the wooden trophy, communities are cashing in on the benefits of hosting sports events. Now, I'm willing to go out on a limb here. It's probably unlikely that we'll host the Winter Olympics. Gordon's shaking his head. And I doubt we'll host a Final Four. However, York County has built a strong track record in hosting regional, state, and international sporting competitions that bring lucrative tourism dollars into our community. While we're not competing to host the Final Four, anytime we bid on a sports event to win, we face stiff competition, and mainly because these events will generate significant economic impact wherever they're held. In addition to the financial investment, sports organizations from the NCAA to the Can-Am Police and Fire Games need strong leadership to produce successful events. Leaders from our region, and many are here today, stepped up as York County prepares to host the Can-Am Police and Fire Games this summer, and it has been an honor to work with them. Wes Kahley is chief among those volunteers. He started with the York City Police Department in 1998 and became its chief 4 years ago. He is responsible for a $170 million budget and 120 staff. In addition to these significant responsibilities, he's expanding his construction resume with the challenging renovation of the police department office to be done in May. I'll say it publicly, so hopefully they'll hold true with their promise. And Wes is a dedicated sports parent. He has a daughter who's involved in competitive gymnastics. She has one more meet coming up. I've seen pictures of her flying high on the balance beam. And he has a son that is going to be playing baseball, or plays baseball and also football, tournament team for baseball. Chief Kahley is chairman of the board of the 2014 Can-Am Police and Fire Games. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Chief Wes Kahley.
Good afternoon. Aaron, you said you were nervous standing up here and singing. I want to tell you I'm probably 10 times as nervous. You've done almost everything you could to a cop to make them feel very uncomfortable. I'm in a spot right now where I got my back to where I can't escape. There's only one way out. The only thing you want to do next time is put my back to the door so I can't see who's coming in. It would make me that much more uncomfortable. Normally when I come and I've talked with you all in the past, and when I speak, generally it's about police issues. And everyone that knows me knows that I don't like to write things down. I like to speak straight from my mind, from my heart. So when I looked at coming here to talk about the Can-Am Games, I thought, well, how am I going to connect with the group that I'm going to talk to? And what I did, I went on to the Rotary website and I began searching the Rotary website to see what the commonality was here. And I thought I was going to be smart. I came up with a quote that was on Rotary, and I put it on my phone. We're all into this technology because I don't write anything down to speak about. So I thought, well, I'll put this on my phone, and that way I can pull it up. The problem is I'm middle-aged now, and as most of you know, my arms aren't long enough for my eyes to read, so you're going to have to bear with me here. But what I found on that site was a quote that kind of popped out at me that said, "We are 1.2 million neighbors, friends, community leaders, come together to create positive, lasting change in our communities and around the world. You see and I lose track of time, Tina, I don't know, maybe within the last year, I got asked to take up and take a little more of a leadership role in the Can-Am Games. And as you all know, the police department I'm in charge of, really nothing goes on, so I really have nothing to do there. The building that's being done, that hasn't taken any of my time. So I said something to my wife, and she said, "Are you crazy? Like, you don't have any more time between family and work." So I thought about it for a while, and what made me finally make my decision to really become involved was the patch on my shoulder, because it says York. When I looked at what the Can-Am Games could do for York, it was a no-brainer for me to get involved in some way, shape, or form, because we have an opportunity here, and I'll talk about the games in a second, and I promise to keep this as short as possible, but we have an opportunity here to show York off in a very nice fashion to really people internationally from around the world. We're always trying to, and I talk about the perceptions that people have about York City, and not necessarily York in general, but some of those perceptions really aren't true, so I'm constantly looking for ways to get the positive out in what's going on in York, and really to me, to bring 2,000 to 3,000 people plus their families to York for a week-long event and show everything that we have to offer, you know, who can pass that up? As Ann was saying, the problem with that is when we talk about, I'll use the Keystone State Games as an example, that comes kind of packaged, if I'm correct. There are people there that run that and put that on. We have no one doing that. If I could ask, and there's a lot of people, and some of them are spread out, could everybody involved in the Can-Am Games stand up for me, please? Better stand up, Tina. Okay, these are the people putting this on, and there are others, but it's left to us. We have to raise the funding, we have to put the games together, we have to find the sites, we have to find the equipment, we have to make sure that all the logistics that go along with putting a week-long event in place happen. And that's really a tough thing to do if you think about it, when all these people are all working other jobs, they all have other responsibilities. So it's not like someone came to us and said, well, here's $1 million budget, here's the logistics, here's all the equipment, go ahead and put it on. We're having to do this. And when I say we, I'm kind of the pretty face here, that's why I'm here. It's the people that stood up here, it's the people that are working behind the scenes to make sure that this happens. The Can-Am Games, to give you an idea, there's brochures on your desk that talk about the Can-Am Games. And I'll tell you, we always learn one thing, right, no matter what we do. The first time I got with Ann and Tina, and we started talking about things, and you need to go here, do you have your collateral? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm volunteering, and I don't know that I'm loaning money to anybody. So when we start talking about collateral, this isn't happening. Well, I learned that collateral are these brochures to me that you pass out, so we all learned something new. I was never a sales or marketing person, but I did learn something out of all this. I know what collateral is now. But if you look at that, it talks a little bit about the games. But the games are coming here in July of 2014 from the 13th to the 20th. And York County had to compete to get them here. And I believe one of the places we competed against, because I wasn't involved in that process, was Green Bay, Wisconsin at that time. So it's not like it was York and 10 other places that people have never heard of before. We had to compete, we had to show that we could put these games on. People came here to see York, to see its assets and its pluses, and make the decision that this was where the 2014 games are going to happen. The Can-Am Games, to get into a little bit of history, started back between Canada and Washington State on the west coast of the United States. And they've grown. This is the furthest east that this is going to take place, in York, Pennsylvania. It's never been this far east. It happens every 2 years. People compete to make sure that it happens in their community, and they put the games on. The last games that were held happened in St. Cloud, Minnesota in 2016. They happened in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and in 2018, Hampton Roads, Virginia has been picked to host the games. People come from all over the world. While this is a North America type thing, people come internationally to see this event. And I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, but I think we have interest from Russia, various other places around the world. It's amazing when I start seeing the names and locations of places where people are going to come from to York, Pennsylvania. We're estimating 2,000 to 3,000 people, competitors, are going to come here to York County to compete in these games. This doesn't count their families, their friends, that sort of thing. So you all are business people. You can do the math. I mean, think about the impact that this is going to have on York County as far as tourism dollars, as far as business goes, for restaurants, hotels, those sorts of things. Plus, I think, and I believe it's going to show York off in a light that a lot of people that never would have come to York, Pennsylvania are going to get to see York, Pennsylvania and see things that it has to offer and hopefully return in the future again. Because one of the reasons we have a huge drug problem here, I think, is because we're a hub. We kind of sit between a lot of places. It's easy to get to New York City. It's easy to get to Philadelphia. Sorry, Chief Hire. It's easy to get to Baltimore. We're at a crossroads. We're also at a crossroads. Think about the things there are to do around York, Pennsylvania. You have Lancaster, you have Hershey Park, you have Gettysburg, you have Baltimore, Philadelphia, all those places. So someone can come here and they can kind of make this their hub, their home, and hit all these various places. But we're estimating 2,000 to 3,000 people alone as far as competitors. Now the Can-Am Games, as someone described, are an Olympic-style competition. We have everything from track and field, submission wrestling, judo, softball, all the way down to our bar games. I have guys at work that they want to try and put together a bar game pentathlon or something. But darts, Texas Hold'em, foosball, that kind of stuff, I don't know. So there's something for everyone. There's also, for the people that come out to see it, there's also events that are specific to our jobs, like K9, like SWAT competitions, like the firefighter challenge, toughest cop, those sorts of things. So there's a lot going on. I looked this morning, and it count right now, and just going off the list, I counted 16 different municipalities in York County where this event's going to happen over a week period of time. So I'm not just, even though I'm a York City police officer, it's not just happening in York, it's happening all over York County and actually into Harrisburg and Lancaster County. Around 60 different events are going to take place in that time period. So you're going to see a lot of people moving around the area and getting to see York County. There's also going to be events downtown that they're putting on to raise money, because one of the things we have to do is give back in some form or fashion. And what the Can-Am Games did was select the Make-A-Wish Foundation as their charity of choice. So when we put together the finances for putting the games on, we have to include that. We want to make sure that we give a good donation back to Make-A-Wish, because it's such a worthy cause. Sunday the 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. If you go on the site and look, we're going to have an opening ceremonies. I don't know if it's going to be in the same fashion as Sochi, but the one thing I will tell you, I told the people at the table, I've already promised not to invade another country after the game. All of our plumbing's going to work in our hotels, and there'll be no wolves walking around in the hallways. But I think it's going to be a fantastic event. The biggest thing we all know as business leaders and as community leaders, that nothing happens without partnership. And you can look at all the various people that are involved in this. We still need partnerships. If you go on the website, and it should be on the collateral there, is www.yorkcanamgames.com. If you go on there, we're estimating we're going to need about 500 volunteers in order to make all this happen. There's a link on there to hit and click if you want to be a volunteer for the games. We need sponsorships. Again, this is all what we're putting together and raising ourselves to make this happen. So I'm not up here to sell anybody on anything. I'm just letting you know, if you go to that site, you can see a lot of opportunities to partner with us and make this happen, and make sure that when people come here, they get to see the work in the light that many of us see it, and make sure that it's a successful game and people will leave and want to come back here again. I'll open it up to questions for you. I'll try and answer them. If I don't, I know there are people here that can answer any question that you have. You saw them stand up, so even if you don't want to talk to us in front of everybody, you're more than welcome to go up and hit them afterwards and make sure that your question gets answered and we can help you out. Does anybody have anything? Yes?
Will there be adequate security here in York? I
You're gonna make me knock on wood and say yes.
No, I had a question. I posed this to one of my young engineers. If I were a police force or a firefighting group from somewhere, is there recruitment going on around the country for particular people to join that police force or fire team because they're particularly good at the activities that go on?
York City Police Department is going out and finding the best Texas Hold'em players. You know, the funny thing is, when you talk about large police departments like LA, Philadelphia, New York City, a lot of those places have some great athletes in them, and they actually have teams. They have football teams, they have baseball teams, that sort of thing. I know lacrosse has never been held at a Can-Am games before, am I right, Rich? And Rich actually got calls from people, from agencies that have lacrosse teams, they want to come here and play lacrosse. So this is the first time it's going to happen. And, you know, softball is always huge with cops. We all have our own teams. Anything you can drink with, we're happy with. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Chief, how does a competitor qualify to be a competitor in the games?
He asked, if you didn't hear, how does someone qualify to be a competitor? Anybody that's involved in law enforcement, firefighting, EMS, you can be in the military as long as you're involved in those services, be retired from those services, be a spouse of someone that belongs to those services. Did I miss anything? Corrections. Scott, please let me get out. I'm trapped right now. Corrections also, they're one of our, when I say law enforcement, I include them in my mind, and I know not everyone does that, but they're one of our law enforcement partners.
Chief?
Yes.
Maybe more for Ann than for you. Did York have to guarantee a financial commitment for the Can-Am games?
You want to answer it?
Well, what Gordon asked is, did York have to guarantee a financial commitment to host the games? And the day that they awarded the games, we had to sign a contract, and the CDB wrote a check for $25,000 to host this event. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, very reasonable and some other things.
Now, obviously, 25 grand isn't going to get it done.
Right.
Great. Just so you know, that's not the cost of the entire thing. It's several $100,000. So we have a lot of partners. If you go on the site, you will see people who are partnering with us right now, different businesses. You know, Shipley Oil is one of the huge ones, and we have some private donors that have come forward to help out as sponsors also. Anything else? No? Okay, thank you. Like I said, I appreciate your time.